Hello. 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 I would like to talk about Metroid. I want to see if I can say a few things about Metroid and see what I can say. So, Metroid is in some way a game about brains, I think. There is a brain in this game, right? There is a brain in this game. It's at the very center of the game, basically. So at the very center of the world, there is a brain, right? You pass through different layers. You enter through the top crust, and you go down the different crusts, and then you reach the deepest level. What's it called? Turian or something, and it's Mother Brain. And Mother Brain is the most technological area of this game, if I am not mistaken. It is an area filled with pistons and machines and glass and metal, and it's a sort of like a lab, like a secret lab, that kind of a area, and so it's interesting because it comes right after a whole series of levels that basically evoke different classical elements of nature or different sorts of natural environments. So there's the fire area, right, filled with lava and fire. There's the water area. Can't remember its name. Meridian. There's the don't know, something like that. Okay, there is the green area, right? I think that's where Kraid is. I can't remember. There are these different areas that are very clearly differentiated into elements: water, fire, earth, as in plants and stuff, And so it's interesting that then after these elements, we get metal, or let's say what do you call it? This metal stone, the philosopher's stone, or this big technological area at the center, right? So it's like the center tends to be, I would say, I don't know, the origin point, maybe, right? Everything kind of expands from the center. And so reaching the center of the planet is like reaching its deepest core. And we tend to think of nature as being, nature as in, water, plants, fire, as being the origin of all of the technological stuff that we then associate with our own intervention. But this, it feels as if you have to go through the natural elements in order to reach the technology, as if the technology is more primal, more central, deeper at the core of the planet. Of course, you could also read it, I suppose, as if you're going down the elements as the philosopher, as the technologist goes down the elements, conquers them, and then comes up with technology. So it's maybe you could say Samus is, with every different area that she passes through. So she can pass through the water area, and it means that she's, she's sort of gained control over it, right? Because she's defeated the boss of the water area. So now she is, right, the one in control of water. And then she defeats fire, and she defeats plant. So it's as you move through this planet, right, you could say, and this is something that probably happens in other video games too, right? It's just the general theme of conquering the elements. You conquer the water stage, you conquer the plant stage. But here it could be that you're conquering them in the way, again, that that a technologist would. That you go down and you've gained insight into the nature of water, the nature of fire, which then allows you to do this sort of alchemical operation that leads you to this new element, which is whatever, gold, metal, the new technology, the technological element at the heart of this. So again, it could be as if this is happening. In some way, there is this way in which Samus has she's working on the footsteps of other people, right? Other people have come to this planet with the intention of discovering things. I'm pretty sure that the game suggests that the people who came to this planet would have mainly been people precisely interested in either scientific control over it, scientists, or military control, and probably like a combination of both. In fact, right, it is said that Samus is working for some sort of a federation who wanted to study the Metroids because they discovered that the Metroids were the source of eternal life, basically, right? So the game is already doing an alchemical thing in that sense, because it seems as if the Metroid is like, wow, this is an incredible life form, because it seems like from this life form we could, chemically acquire the keys to eternal life, is a sense that I get from why people want the Metroids. So the Metroid already is the Philosopher's Stone, which is funny also because it has this sort of double meaning of the Philosopher's Stone as divine child, as Christ child, which tends to be, right, as Jung shows in his alchemy book, that there is a meaning of the Philosopher's Stone that has to do with Christ in this sense, or right in the tradition of the alchemists, who like the alchemists seem to be working mainly within a Christian tradition, or at least I suppose the European alchemists that Jung was studying. I'm right, there must be other alchemical traditions that I'm not aware of, but so Christianity was like the thing, right? And so Christ is what we're talking about when we say the Philosopher's Stone. Okay, so I'm talking about Christ while trying to make a video about Metroid. That's great. Let's see. So the whole idea then, I suppose, is that it's Christ because it is the newborn child. And it is a newborn child who is us, the alchemist themselves, right? The alchemist is reborn, but is reborn as immortal. So the Philosopher's Stone is like this process of acquiring eternal life in the sense that Christ or any like mystical figure would be reborn from death, right? You would die and then you would be reborn, and so on. Which I think is something that happens in this game as well. Although at that point I'm not so familiar with how this game develops to be able to talk about that, but I have this sense that maybe some of that happens, in that isn't there a moment where maybe it seems as if the little Metroid, that like the only Metroid that has survived has died, but then it hasn't died. So it seems like it died, but then it didn't die. Or maybe like Samus dies and then... God, okay, so I should actually look at this. Okay, yeah. So this game is really cool. This game is really cool. This game is cooler than I remembered. The ending is crazy. Like, the ending is totally a death and resurrection myth thing. Because... So basically, the baby Metroid sacrifices itself for Samus. So Samus was practically dead, right? All of her life is gone, except for like one point. So in a sense, you could say she is symbolically dead. She would die, but she is brought back to life by the Metroid. So she's resurrected by the Metroid from death, and then the Metroid dies, and in some weird sort of way, its death, like it dies and falls on her and imparts onto her a superpower, which she then uses. So all of this stuff, very interesting, because it suggests some sort of, again, a kind of salvation from death, right? Being on the brink of death, but coming back, and coming back not as you were before, but stronger, with a new superpower, right? So it's like, this idea of reaching death, coming back, right? Reaching death, coming back. Some sort of an alchemical tale of that sort, I think, is happening here. Something is happening in which there is a domain over life and over the elements in some way, right? That results in the acquisition of eternal life. And this eternal life is also linked to the death of Mother Brain. Okay, so that's interesting. Because a lot is happening here, man, in some way, because it's Mother Brain and it's baby Metroid. There is some sort of a mother-child thing going on in this game, which is going on anyway, right? It's going on archetypally, because Samus herself is the symbolic mother to this baby, because this baby Metroid feels sort of attached to Samus as her mother, right? So there is a mother-child relationship between Samus and the Metroid. There is then a sort of battle between baby Metroid and Mother Brain. So it's another kind of baby versus mother thing, right? So there's a lot of this stuff going on. And it's all like a defeat of the mother in some way, because what Samus is doing is defeating the mother. She is defeating she is defeating in some way this archetype, right? She's defeating Mother Brain. And another thing that comes to mind to me also is that Metroid 2 also ends with, as far as I remember, it's also a planet that you enter from the surface, as you tend to in these games. You enter it from the surface and you descend. And you meet all sorts of different Metroids, right? And you're descending and descending and descending. And you're descending down into what feels to be the center of the planet, like you would in Super Metroid, right? And at this center of the planet, you meet the mother, because you meet the mother of the Metroids. You meet, right, in some sense, Queen Metroid, or the Metroid Queen, or something. So it's also a mother figure. You're also meeting a mother figure. So in Metroid 2, it's also this theme of Samus fighting against the mother. The mother as enormous archetype, as divine creature, right? That is both the center of life and so it's both like terrible and powerful in some way, like it divine in that sense. And I'm interested that it's at the center of a planet too. So essentially, we're inside a cave. We're deep down in a deep place, that's where you meet this mother. And Samus, what she has to do in these games is like kill the mother. So that's interesting. But then also because she herself acquires a mother role. She acquires a mother role. Samus is sort of embodying some sort of a mother role in this game because the little Metroid thinks that she is its mother. So symbolically, there is a mother-child relationship. Interestingly, though, it keeps its archetypal sort of flavor because it's you know, what you call it, it's a divine birth, right? Like it's a mother-child relationship where there hasn't been any like actual signs of mothering or giving birth or anything like that. Like there is a sort of disconnected quality to it that I feel gives it a symbolic quality. So it's a child, yeah, but it's like the symbol of the child. And it's a mother, yeah, but it's like the symbol of the mother. You know, I'm tempted to say that the child here represents Samus's own inner child. It's that kind of a child, a symbolic child, you see, like not a real child. It's as if, which is another way I think that the Philosopher's Stone is used, as the child, meaning the inner child. You are sort of rekindling the inner child, the lost sort of inner self that the layers and layers of social upbringing have like destroyed in you, right? Who you were, or who you are, in some sense, who you are in an original sense, who you are behind all of the layers of things that you are attached to out of fear or desire, right? Things that you are afraid that you need to act this way, otherwise you'll be punished, or things where you force yourself to act a certain way because that way you can gain a certain prize. So it's like behind all that is this inner child. I get the sense that that's what's being talked about here. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's what this is. So in some way then, is this a tale of Samus? Does it, you know, to kill the mother then? What does that mean? Is the mother in this game the one who has precisely raised you and brought you into society and raised you in the rules of society? And right, it is some sort of, because I'm interested in to know why the mother figure is like a you know, some sort of a menacing enemy figure that you have to defeat in these games. Why do you have to defeat the mother? And why is Samus herself a mother? Why is she defeating a mother, right, when she herself is a mother? That sort of thing. What sort of roles are being embodied here? I don't know. So that's interesting. And so, yeah, I wonder maybe if what this means. See, so basically, in like some typical Freudian or psychoanalytic sense, you know, maybe even a Jungian sense, there is something with gender roles and mythology and dreams, I feel, where if Samus is a woman and she is fighting another woman that is like a greater divine version of a woman, like this sort of it's the same gender role in some way, right? But it's like a bigger archetypal version of it. It feels then like you are fighting some sort of an inner thing, an archetypal thing, basically a psychological structure, so that Mother Brain is some sort of psychological structure related to Samus. Samus is fighting a part of herself. That's why Mother Brain is a superhuman, divine monster, enormous being that towers over humans, because I think that it is something that isn't human in this sense, right? That is symbolic, mythological, something of this nature, right? And this makes it real, definitely, but symbolic. So it feels like if what Samus is fighting, and obviously the other thing is that the fact that Samus fights a mother archetype twice in 2 games, and in both games at the center of the planet, makes me feel like this is not like a real event. You see, it's not a real event because it's the same event happening in again and again. It gives it an archetypal character. So what's happening here is some sort of an archetypal story. Samus is encountering some sort of an archetypal story, and again, I'm at least interested in interpreting this as being archetypal in the sense that it relates to the self. That Samus is fighting something related to the self, related to her own self, her own connection with the self. And so I'm going to go with this, right? And so it feels like Mother Brain in a game where Samus herself is a mother, embodies that role, then if she's fighting a big version of the mother archetype, it's almost as if she is sort of fighting that part of herself that relates to gender. Like, I feel like there is some sort of battle with gender in this game. As if Mother Brain is like the paternal, you should do this and you shouldn't do that, which means you should behave this way, you shouldn't behave that other way, and therefore you should be this version of yourself that you aren't. So I feel if maybe those are some of the things that are happening in this game, and I've spoken for too long already, but so this is it. This is the game. We'll continue talking about it, and we'll see where we take it from here. So, yeah. Cool. Okay. Okay, yes, good. Goodbye. Bye.